Good to go?
Everybody ready? Got it? First, I think the biggest thing is when you start looking at building a team now with all the talk of transfer portal and NIL over the last couple of years, it's changed some thoughts of everybody, makes it a little bit more difficult. But the ones that are going to do well are the ones that are just moving forward and figuring out how to navigate it. So you can't gripe about it. Hopefully there will be some guidelines put in and guardrails that'll help the kids more than anything else. But everybody's just learning what to do. The 4 new staff members that came in have been really, really good. Pat Suddas coming in as general manager, and he works with compliance, he works with recruiting, but he works with NIL, and that's a huge process now as you start looking at it. Gene Chiswick's proven he's won a national championship, really won 2. One is an assistant with me, and one is the head coach at Auburn, and he brings in Charlton Warren, and they're doing really well. The kids love them. They put in some different looks and different defenses, and that's really, really working, and they had relationships with the other coaches on defense, so that's been good. And Jack Bittnell is one of the best teachers I've ever seen. When you're a head coach for 8-9 years, you obviously understand the whole picture, and that helps me. But at the same time, here's a guy that's been 7 years as an offensive line coach in the NFL, and every young guy that goes to college football wants to play in the NFL. So it really helps us in recruiting. It helps us with guys out here because he is such a great teacher, but they know what he's teaching them is what they're going to be taught when they get to the NFL as well. You start looking at positives. We're a talented team, and we're probably the most talented overall since we've been here. You haven't replaced Michael Carter and Javonte Williams and Diami, but at the same time, you brought a lot of young players that have a chance to be really good. We can run. You can see that today. We can run on defense. We've got speed on offense. George Pettaway gives us a different gear as a running back, which really, really helps us moving forward. This team's had a great attitude. Last year's team was up and down. I saw it in the spring. I saw it in the fall. It frustrated me. My responsibility is to put a team on the field for our university and our fans that plays their heart out every week. And I didn't see that last year. We were up and down, and we didn't have the leadership that we needed. We had that the first 2 years. We maximized everything we did the first 2 years, beat expectations last year. We didn't, so now we've got to go back and do that. And this team's really, really trying. The concerns is they're very young. So you constantly have to work on teaching leadership. And who's going to be the guy? Michael Carter saw us scrimmage 2 weeks ago, and he said, I said, tell the team what you saw. And he said, I see a really good team that's trying hard. I don't see enough alpha dogs stepping up. Who are the guys that are going to step up? So we've put in a point system in practice where somebody wins and loses every time we have a team, and we're trying to put the emphasis on those situations where who's going to step up now? Offense is ahead 5-2. Come on, defense. Who's going to step up? And we'll do the same on Saturday as we're going through. Wide receiver depth is a concern. We lost THI to cancer, and by the way, he's doing very well. Treatments are responding, and hopefully he'll feel well enough to be there on Saturday. They made some little buttons for him, but it's probably changed some things that our team looks at differently, just because one of their teammates comes in one day with a bad back, and the next day he's got cancer. And it changes how all of us think, because we know that could be us tomorrow. So it just changes the outlook in a lot of different ways. So we've got some receivers coming in, but we've got to get more depth at that position as much as we throw it. We've got 6 scholarship wide receivers right now, and we'll have 8 in the fall, and we should have 13. So it's put us in a tougher spot. And we've got inexperienced quarterbacks. Both are very talented. We like what we see out of Connor Harrell. So our quarterback room is really healthy, but it's young, and they have to respond. And we're putting as much game pressure on them every day as we can. This is the first day we've done 1-minute drill. We should have done it more with young quarterbacks. So that'll be an emphasis moving forward in the fall. So as talented as we are, we still don't know who we're going to be till we play. I like the team. I like the way they're working. Are we going to be any good? Who knows? I mean, that's something that we'll have to look at in the fall for sure. Recruiting, the early 8 enrollees are all really good. We tell the early enrollees, your high school seniors, we're not going to ask you to be college football players yet. Your spring is to learn what to do, and then by the time we get to the fall, it'll be time for you to compete because they'll be like sophomores. But you have to coach them differently because they're just out of high school, and they still should be in high school. And then we've got 10 more coming in May and June, 9 signees, and the one Harvard transfer, Spencer Rollin. And Spencer's up to 300 pounds now, and all the other guys we're communicating with, and we'll be excited about them getting here in the summer, but it puts them behind when all these other guys have had all spring and an off-season program and a semester of school before the other guys come, because we can't get them those experiences until they get here. Current recruiting is going well. It seems like after COVID, everybody's slowed down. Nobody's got as many early commitments as normal. At Texas, I used to have them all done in February, so my patience isn't very good. But we're in contact with a lot of people that are very interested, and we feel like that we will end up having a great recruiting year again. Spring game Saturday, the game will actually start at 3:45. TV will start rolling at 3 when we come on the field. We will honor THI and some other young cancer patients before the game. We will honor our women's basketball team at some point, maybe halftime, for them going into the Sweet 16 and only Courtney's 3rd year, which was good. The men are out recruiting and all over the place, so we wanted to honor them as well, but just didn't have an opportunity to do that. With the game, it'll be tackle. The punting and punt block and return will be in pregame because we're limited on numbers, and we can't get as many plays as we want and add special teams and get them on separate sidelines and get it organized. It's just not worth the time. So the only kicking game during the game will be if we score, there'll be an extra point. If it comes up for a field goal, it'll be the actual field goal. And we'll work on that as we go through. But the other will be in pregame. Special teams, we feel like we've made great progress. Larry Porter was special teams coach here, then at Auburn, and now back here. But we're very pleased with the depth that we're developing. We just got to continue to focus on the little things, and Jonathan Kim right now would be our starting kicker, and Noah Burnett would be our backup. Ben Kiernan and Cole Maynard are really even as they come out of spring at punt. And then you've got guys like DeAndre Boykin and Obi Abuno, Cedric Gray, Power Eccles, and Jake Harkleroad. All those guys have been special emphasis in special teams. They're doing a great job. Kickoff coverage, we'll work on more in the fall, but Jonathan Kim's been so good at it. It's something that is we have to look at who's on there and what we do. Punt returns, we blocked 4 punts last year and led the nation. We didn't do as good a job with punt returns, and with Josh Downs being so special, well, we've got to improve in that area. And kickoff returns, we're still looking to see who we feel like is the best to return those. Defensively, you look at who's out to start with: KJ Binkley, Jaquarius Conley, Day Hollins, Jaleel Taylor, Ray Vahasek, Ethan West, and Kamen Rucker. So there are a lot of guys that aren't out here this spring that will be back in the fall and will help us, though we'll be behind because we've put in the new system as such. Really proud of Kamen Rucker for singing the national anthem at the Final Four. I wouldn't have enough guts to do that. They wouldn't ask me, but I wouldn't have enough guts, and he did a great job. And very, very proud for him. Seth Gray's had a great spring, and he's a leader at linebacker. Miles Murphy's been the most dominant front guy as we've looked at it. And then you start looking at the defensive linemen. Everything starts with them. We've got to do a better job stopping the run on first down and forcing second long, third and long, and that's something we really haven't done very well for 2 years. We're doing a better job at pass rushing, but we've got to get more physical as big and pretty as we are in the offensive line, we got to make more plays against the run, and we've got to stop first down runs, and that's something that we've talked about, but we just haven't. We really haven't done. But I am happy with the improvement in the pass rush game, but I do want us to be more physical in the run game. Travis Shaw is probably 350 pounds. He's going to be really good. He's got some weight to lose, and he's working on that right now. But he's so strong and so powerful, and as a nose tackle, he's what we thought he would be, and probably better. He's so athletic in there. He splits double teams, and then you start looking at the power end. Javari Ritzie will play there more in the fall. We've been limited because we've had some guys out in the spring, but he'll be a power end along with Des Evans. Des Evans is playing better because we've got him in the position he should be in. He's not dropping. He's a pass rusher and a run stopper. And then we feel like Bo Atkinson is making progress in that area as well. We feel good about Power Eccles, as well as Ced Gray, and then Sebastian Cheeks. Today would have been his dad's birthday. We lost his dad a few months ago, and so that's an emotional day for him. But he and Rara Dilworth are doing some really good things. Both are going to contribute in the fall. We're trying to see how many guys we can trust to play in a game, and that's something we haven't done a very good job of. So we need more depth. So we're trying to, I'm saying, get them where they can play. Maybe 10 plays, maybe 15 plays, maybe 20 plays, but get guys that you can trust. The biggest problem with young linebackers is pass coverage, because that's what they didn't have to worry about much in high school. They were just blitzers and ran and made all the tackles, and they're having to learn a lot of new concepts, but they're playing fast and have a chance to be good. Secondary, you've had Cam Kelly out, you've had Jaquarius Conley out, you've had Biggers out, Storm Duck out for some of the spring. So we've been slow in learning the new concepts, and that's hurt us some. We're excited about them being back. Cam will play Saturday, Storm will play Saturday, Jaquarius will not, and Gio will not, Gio Biggers. Don Chapman hurts his knee and gets an operation after Notre Dame, breaks a hand. He's practiced just about all spring. He's really a tough young man. But we just got to settle on the best 5 for positions in the fall. We're a little bit limited in depth at corner, so we've got to continue to improve there. The jack position, which is the outside linebacker position, Chris Collins has done a really good job of leading and being a good player this spring. Noah Taylor gives us that explosion for coming off the corner and helping us pass rush that we need. And we're really excited about Malachi Hammer. He keeps getting better every play. Gabe Stevens has missed some practice, so he hasn't been able to play a whole lot. Closing with the offense, we have worked so much on situational offense with young quarterbacks, and I thought that's something we haven't done well. We haven't made some 3rd down and shorts and 4th and shorts, and so that's been our whole emphasis this spring, is go back and make sure that we win the situational games. You can see today in practice that's all we're doing, and continuing to develop depth, trying to put pressure on the young quarterbacks now so we don't wait till the first game to see how they're going to handle it. So they've seen everything, and we've really brought it on them and put a tremendous amount of pressure on them, and we will not make that decision until the fall. You can see today they're both doing a good job, so we're lucky that we got both of them. Running backs, we got a lot of young talent in the room that's doing well. Omarion Hampton was out here today watching with his entire team, which is fun to have him out here. And Petaway's jumped out and done some really good things. He's fast, he's quick, he's got good vision, and he gives us a different dynamic. Also pleased with DJ Jones. He's healthy, he's well. But the other guy that's really stepped up is Elijah Green. He's had a really good spring, and this is the best he's looked. He's catching the ball better. He's done an outstanding job with pass protection, so he's moved up in the mix. Now, British Brooks would be the guy and the starter right now. We're holding him out some because he's seen enough and done enough, and we've got to get snaps with these young ones before we get Omarion in here, and he'll have a chance to come in and play immediately when he gets here. Caleb Hood's been hurt and in and out of practice. Kamara Edmonds has been hurt. He's been in and out of practice. So that's kind of where the running back room is going forward. Offensive line, the thing I like is they're really coming off the ball. This is the most physical I've seen us since we've been here, and it's something that we've got to do, and we're working really hard on eliminating sacks and eliminating tackles for loss. And obviously you'll never eliminate all of them, but penalties, sacks and tackles for loss were an issue for us, and we're doing everything we can do to correct that area. We were playing Bryson Nesbitt at both receiver and tight end because he's such a mismatch outside, and we're limited at receivers, so it gives us a big body. And you saw a couple of great catches today. He's done that every day that we've been out there. And the tight ends are all doing well, so we're pleased with them. Antoine Green stepped up. We've asked him to be elite. Josh Downs is elite. And then out of Gavin Blackwell, J.J. Jones, and Kobe Pesor, somebody else needs to step up. And we've talked about that. Justin Olson was injured at the first part. He's come back on, but he's played enough that we know who he is. Kobe's probably done better than Gavin or J.J. right now. J.J. got hurt and sick and limited. He was limited some this spring. Awesome Richards, Ed Montelis are having an outstanding spring. It's by far the best they've looked. William Barnes is doing some really good things, but he's still got to be more consistent. We're really pleased with Corey Gaynor coming in from Miami. He's a good leader. He's a big, strong, tough guy. And we went from struggling at center, not having enough last year. Now we got 3. Because Corey had to go to class, we moved practice on Tuesday tonight because we were hoping to win the national championship, and the guys would be on Franklin Street. And I knew that 5:30, 5 o'clock wake-up call was going to be tough. So we moved it to Tuesday night. Corey had class, so he missed, and Brian Anderson and Kyrian Johnson stepped right in because they've gotten so much experience. So we're so much better off at center right now than we were this time last year, and they're playing very consistently. Travion Green, he was sick with the flu today and wasn't out here. He's had a really good spring. Zach Rice is tough as nails, and what we thought, all the young guys coming in and playing immediately at the offensive line with the pass rushers that we have, it makes it difficult on them. We've had a flu bug running through the team. Caden Baker and Travion Green were not out here today, and Diego Pounds was sick today as well. So, questions?
What do you attribute the improved attitude this spring to?
I think that I've tried to go back and reflect. You know, you say, why didn't you do this last year? Well, I didn't know we were going to be so inconsistent. I thought it, I felt it, I couldn't stop it. You're rated 8th in the country and you don't want to tell everybody you're not. And you try to, and nobody listens anyway. They all say it's coach speak. So the thing that happened is you get beat in the opener, and I got that. Virginia Tech's a hard place to play. We got our centers hurt. So then you go the second week, you play better against Georgia State, you play better against Virginia, and then absolutely just tank it at Georgia Tech. So that just, you start seeing we couldn't handle success last year. So that teams that handle success get better, and you got to do that. So what we've done is gone back, and we're not missing anything. We're all over it with every class, everything that we did the first year we were here that we thought we did last year, but I'm not sure we did it as well. We've gone back and doing it again. They have not had a bad practice. There were some practices that weren't awful last year, but you could tell it was kind of like, how many left? This bunch is competing, and they've practiced like this every day, and they'll play like this on Saturday. So my goal is to get them back where they play hard and confident every week, and that's all we can do. The rest of it, I don't care about.
How did you come up with the win, the down? Is that new? How'd you come up with it, and how is that helping?
We've always said you have to compete in everything you do every day at practice, but if you don't have a score, just saying offense got one, defense got one with your hands, it's not real. So we have given the winners a reward after every game. It's ice cream, popsicles, cookies, and as simple as it seems, all these guys love to compete. Well, there's a difference in participating in practice, and I thought that's what we did last year. We participated. We did okay because we were supposed to go through spring, but we felt too good about ourselves. This team understands that we underachieved last year, and they want to do so well, but they've got to compete against each other to get that done, and it also makes them feel better about their opponent, which is their offense or defense in spring practice, if they're competing every day and there's a score at the end. Everything we do has got a scoreboard, so why shouldn't we have one in practice?
Do you feel like you've checked the boxes that needed to be checked this spring?
Yes, Greg. If you ask me, so far we haven't had an injury that's kept somebody from playing in the fall, which is always key. That they are playing really hard. We're not far enough along on defense with our communication because we've got so many people out, so that concerns me, and that's something we've got to really do a great job of in the fall. I thought our offense the last week has been playing faster than we did at any time last year, just because they're more confident and they're moving fast again, and they understand that they need to pick it up. Yes, 1 minute has not been as good because we haven't done it, so that's something for the fall. Everything else, I think we've done all we can do in the spring with a whole lot of work left to do in the fall. I am not going to start talking about how good this team's going to be because I don't know. And I think that's the fair answer, is there's too many unanswered questions, but a lot of talented young people that are trying really hard. So what I think is the fans will really enjoy watching this team play. I would bet at the end of next year this will be a fan favorite team.
How is each quarterback different now than they were when they were Sam's backup last fall?
They're so much more confident, and you can tell that last year when you have no chance to play, unless somebody gets hurt, you're not as intense. And that's just, it's real, because they didn't think they were really going to play because Sam never got hurt. We weren't beating people badly enough to let them get in. So other than the game with Wofford, where I thought they really focused and had a great week's practice, they know it's here now. It's real, and they're in a battle to see who plays. And that's, it's every minute of every day, and we're grading every throw they make. And you can tell we're talking a lot about getting the ball out of your hands fast, because they got to get the ball out of the hands. And we've put in some quicks, and we're moving a quarterback, and we're doing some things now that we think will help this offense that we didn't do the first 3 years.
And how have they fared with the situational aspect? I know they have different skill sets, with Drake maybe being a little bit taller and Jacoby a little quicker on his feet, but just how have they fared with the situations?
I think the good thing for them, Greg, is they can play, they can have the same play calls. And that's the best thing. And really Connor's done a good job this spring too, Connor Harrell. But the good thing for our offensive staff is that they don't have to change offenses when one comes in. We can just keep doing the same stuff and maybe emphasize something a little bit more with one than the other. But both of them have really been impressive this spring. We played Drake a little bit more than Jacoby last Saturday because Jacoby's had a sore hamstring. And when we wanted to move the quarterback or do some things, he couldn't be in there. Quarterback draws, he seems to be well. But we'll watch them both on Saturday, and it'll be fun to watch them play with people around them.
Do coaches have to approach quarterback battles differently in the era of the portal?
Nicole, they were leaving before. That has been a unique position where if you don't play, you usually leave. And very honestly, we can't worry about that. We got to play the one, that one position, you got to play the guy that gives you the best chance to win. And then the other thing that you talk about for years, when we were here, we had Jason Stanisak and Mike Thomas both played because neither one took over at one time. And then Oscar Davenport and Chris Keldorf both played because it just wasn't somebody's to take over. And then usually, it was funny with Mike Thomas and Jason Stanisak the first year, the one we started didn't handle it well, and the one that came off the bench won every game. So it was the weirdest thing I'd ever seen, but we won. And then with Chris Keldorf and Oscar, they were battling, and some of the same thing was happening, but then Oscar hurt his knee and didn't get to play. So the fact that you've got two that can both play, everybody says if you got two, you got none. It's really not true. If you've got two, you're secure because if one does go out and they're really, really close, it's not going to change the confidence of your team, and it's also not going to change your play selection. So I think it's I wish they were a little older. I wish they were experienced, but I'm really glad we've got them. And we had some quarterbacks want to transfer, and I like our quarterback room. I wouldn't trade them, so I'm excited about them moving forward.
You mentioned moving the practice so the guys could watch the national title game. Anything you can draw from the basketball team's run that you maybe shared with the team?
Yes, I talked a lot about basketball with St. Peter's and where does that come from and how can St. Peter's beat Kentucky, and I'm sitting there watching it and then I have to Google St. Peter's to see who they are and where they're from, And I didn't do that till the fourth, late in the game, near the end, and I'm thinking, who are these people? And then we were practicing, and I come out and I asked Pat Suddas, I said, how bad did Purdue beat St. Peter's? Because that's who we got to beat. And he said, St. Peter's won again, Coach. And I said, no, man, you can't. So we talked a lot about St. Peter's playing with confidence, but when we played St. Peter's, we hit them in the mouth. And we sent a message to them early, and they lost their confidence, and they couldn't hit shots. So that was a time where we can say, if you have a better team, don't let a lesser team stay in the game, because they get more confidence the longer it goes. And that's just, we learned so much from that. And then Baylor, we have 2 or 3 guys, some top guys foul out or get kicked out, and all of a sudden bench has to be strong. So I said, we won the Baylor game because of our bench. So you guys that aren't starting, there's a game you're going to win if you're ready to play, but you got to seize that opportunity and be ready. And then in the last game, we talked about it a lot. I thought we would get beat by Duke because they would be all over us, and they were so good against us the first game, and we couldn't play as good as we did the last game, when actually I bragged on Hubert and our team so much because they just continued to get better and get more confident, where I thought they might back down with Duke being mad because we lost the other game, and they handled it well. And then they finish strong. And then you go to Kansas, and we all sit there in every game, we'll say, who thinks we're going to win and why? And we talk about it every day. And then in the Kansas game, we're up at halftime. We had a lead at NC State. We took our foot off the gas. We didn't finish it right. And so we've talked about that. But the biggest thing was that our team was 10-5 at one time. People were talking about them not going to even getting in the tournament. That can't happen in football. We can't lose. And when we do, it's a devastating loss because we don't have as many. But we said, obviously, those kids on the basketball team, it was a player-led team, and they took over, and they decided we're going to win, and we're going to be good, and they did. And then even we talk about the last 5 minutes of the first half of the national championship game, we dominated and went in at halftime with a lot of confidence and a big lead. Long halftime, Kansas is yelling at them, saying, got to get back, get our surge immediately. We can't let this keep going like this. Got to change momentum. We had to come out and do the same thing we did against St. Peter's, and that's get right back in their face and say, this isn't changing. And then after we had an 18-3 run, Kansas has a 31-10 run, and then you're in a fight at the end, and then we have bad luck with a couple of sprained ankles, and kind of like our NC State game in the end. So lessons all over the place about you've got to start the second half the way you finished the first half, but then hang in there. And then bench, Puff Johnson comes off and nearly wins the game for us off the bench, and Puff didn't even play a lot at some time, didn't get discouraged, didn't get down. He comes over and eats with us a lot, and I love that kid, but it's so fun to watch him compete. So we're constantly taking everything we see and trying to use it to help learn from situations. Who's going to step up with an 18-3 run? Somebody at Kansas had to step up with all those great players. With a 31-10 run, somebody had to step up and stop it. And that's what we've got to do. And that's what we're talking about all over today. Defense is up 5-2, man. Come on, offense. Who's going to make a play? And that's what we got to get better. We've got to get better at handling situations during the game, because situations are the reason you win and lose.
Mack, at what point did you kind of embrace, I mean,